What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant, and this week I'm joined by, we were just talking off air, my good friend Aaron, who we played football together when we were 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like for a good few years. It was a lot.
So got you in the hot seat, lads. Gonna digest the week of sport, and you are also the owner of Prepped with Passion, and you've kindly said that. You want to do for the competition, or
the competition question today: if they live in Liverpool or the Wirral or Southport, even to be fair, you can win a week's worth of meals.
Well, so this is Aaron's business. So yeah, when we get round to the question, giving that out, you'll also get sorted with that. Mate, I'll be honest, sport with the old international, I kind of switch off for a bit.
Dry this week. Like when I was thinking about it, obviously when you asked me to come on, I was like, proper excited.
Yeah.
I felt like I got the call, lad. I was like, yes. Felt like I was in Bootle Boys all over again. I got the call. I was like, yeah, there we go. Start doing my research, and I was like, not that much to talk about. Yeah. I was like, could have picked a better week, but yeah,
there was a few funny ones, and like I say, big shout out to Aaron as well. I was in London, thanks for the few messages people who listen to the podcast will have given me as well. I won my tribunal against the government, so I was a bit worse for wear, and Aaron actually done all the prep for me for this week's show, so thanks, mate. I did actually see the first thing you wrote down was the Rangers Celtic women's game.
There wasn't even a winner, because it was 1-1. And I don't know what happened. The fella, obviously the Rangers assistant manager went over. I don't know what was said. Just tried to throw the head on him. Like,
mad. If you haven't seen it, go and watch the video. But so what was an equaliser? Wasn't it in the 90th minute?
It's obviously the old firm, wasn't it, for the women? And yeah, he just sort of, I don't know what happened, whether he thought it was offside, words were said on the sideline, but he's literally just gone over and like proper, like, but it was behind as well.
I know.
Bottled it, like fronted him behind his head.
And then someone else runs over and all gets a bit. But yeah, I just thought that was mad.
Like, what's it promoting? Like that's the thing for me. You know, you'll have so many people there that's especially trying to promote the women's game as well, and you got fellas on the side, on the middle of the pitch doing that. It's not.
I always think as well with the women's game, it's like that's the kind of you'd expect children. It's a bit more accessible for children to go to, and then when you're going to see the manager, but the other manager, it again doesn't give a great look.
To be fair though, like update when I sent you the thing, he has been charged for it.
Has he?
Yeah, he's been done for it. Like, so I don't know whether he's going to get a big fine or whatever, but. So we should as well. Like, it's not acceptable, is it, in any way, shape or form?
It's just mad, wasn't it, to see? But yeah, seeing that go on. Conte, obviously, that was the start of the week. Sunday night, I think he got sacked, wasn't it? 11 o'clock at night.
Are you surprised?
No, but I want to know, I think we mentioned it a bit last week after the rant. Is he like, where does he stand legally with his contract? Like, has he done something that's brought the club into disrepute and he's able to then, because listen, these managers probably one of the only jobs where you can be awful at your job and get paid off. Yeah. So it's like, he obviously didn't want to be there, but he didn't want to just leave. He wants to get a payoff. Well, that's what it looks like from the outside. And it's like, as he said, too much where he can maybe now get told to go and not have to pay or annual leave. I don't know.
But the thing is, like, why has he come out and said that? So I've been thinking about it. Like, has he said that because the group of players he got, he doesn't think they're good enough? As a manager, like, he's meant to be this, amazing manager, serial like winner. Top 3, top 5 manager in the world and all that, but he's not been able to get them players to do what he's done in the past. So has he gone there and thought, you know what, I'm gonna slate the club and try and get them to sack me, or what? Like, that's the bigger question, sort of. Has he bottled it? That's if you want to look at it from that perspective, because he's got, mate, look at the players they've got.
Well, one for you, being a big Evertonian, Richarlison, mate. I just do not rate him. I put on Twitter the day and someone was like, "Oh, you'll never know how good he was because he didn't play for yous." He is not a good player,
mate. Like, again, I know how much you hate Everton. Let's have it right. I've watched all of these and I know exactly how much you hate Everton. But mate, for us, he was incredible. He was, but I think because.
Well, he scored about 10 or 15 or something, that's it.
The goals that he scored and the games that he played in, and that, mate, he kept us up. Like, if he wasn't there in that last season, obviously when we nearly went down, we would have went down, definitely. I think he's gone to Tottenham, but he's done what Pienaar did. He's gone to Tottenham, not getting a game, and he can't show. See his interview that he did? He did his interview and started slating Conte, then played in the next game, scored. They obviously did that celebration. It was offside, got caught VAR. So I just don't think he's been given a sniff, but he should have known that. Going there, he's got Son, you know, he's got obviously Kane, Kulusevski, you know, I know Perisic isn't really playing in that position at the moment, but that's where he regularly plays. So I don't know why he even went there. Obviously, you know,
lad, you know loads about footy, but I'm not having you on that.
Mate, but he kept us up, and obviously, you know,
I just don't think he's. What did he pay as well? 65 million?
Well, 60 million, 65 million. And yeah, like, but we paid 50 for him. So it's one of those, like, Everton fans are fuming about it because we paid 50 and then they only paid 65. And for what he did for us, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying he's a whale beater, but for what he did for us, and obviously the fans loved him. And again, the same with Pienaar, the fans absolutely loved him. And then when he went, we were all, well, I was gutted. Like, and I know the majority of the fan base were, and obviously a few turned on him, were like, you know, he's a traitor, done this, but he's gone to further his career. But I just don't think Tottenham was the best place for him to do that because of the players they've got in his position, and he just hasn't been able to oust them at all.
No, and they're talking as well, this new manager comes in, is he going to even like Richarlison? Is he going to try? I think that's the talking about the Bayern Munich manager, aren't they? They were quick to fucking sack him as well. They got beat 3-1 by Leverkusen, let my footy bet down. Not often Bayern Munich and PSG let you down. Mate, I think he's got to be the only manager to be in. Yeah. Like, he's second in the league, he's in Champions League and he's in the domestic cup and he's got sacked.
But is that, again, if they ousted him because they want to get Thomas Tuchel. Has he gone there now? So that's what I was reading, that they were sort of, he was waiting in the wings already. So obviously before he went to someone else, So, you know, before he went to someone else, because he's a top manager, isn't he? And sort of, I think before he went to someone else, they want him. But Nagelsmann's done absolutely nothing wrong. In the 2 jobs he's had, he's done absolutely nothing wrong.
I think it was Werder Bremen, I think it was, or it was, he's brought up a club anyway, or he just about there was a club destined to go down. He kept them up, and then he's obviously got the Bayern job. But apparently, like, he's really,
wasn't he at Leipzig?
Was it Leipzig? I think
he was at Leipzig. Yeah, I think.
He's done unbelievable things in his career. He's only 30.
He's a young manager as well. As I think I personally don't think he's done anything wrong. He was really good in his last job, which is why he got the Bayern job. He's done absolutely nothing wrong here. But again, is he going to come to the Prem at Spurs?
Well, I think what will maybe hinder. Listen, the amount of times we've done this show, and then by the time it goes out Friday, it's changed. But as of Thursday afternoon, if I was him, I'd be waiting, because it looks like Ancelotti's going to go to Brazil. Yeah. And I'd rather have that Real job than I would Tottenham job, if I'm being honest. So it'll be interesting what happens there, and who they get in, because obviously they've got Everton at the weekend. Yeah,
with no manager. I don't remember his name. But the fella that they were going to have in place, he's just got another 30-day ban.
Worldwide football ban.
Worldwide football
What's
ban.
What's he actually done?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Is it to do with the match fixing in Italy?
Fuck knows, yeah. It's got something to do it in Italy, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So they're going there with Eric Dyer taking the helm, probably. Like, but hopefully that's good for us, because we need the points. No.
Well, here's one for you. It's half true, half on the wind up. Do you think Everton have been fortunate in when they have played certain teams, for example? Yeah, so when I look at Everton's running at the kind of bigger teams that maybe you would have thought they'd get beat by, they play Arsenal top of the league, they have the new manager bounce, so there's always that thing where new manager comes in, new game and all that. They're going to play Tottenham, another big four, top 4 side, they're playing them with no manager. Do you think you've been a little bit fortunate?
I think...
Or is that just me?
No, for the Arsenal game, they haven't won a Goodison for a long time.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, they haven't won a Goodison for a long, long time. Yeah, obviously the new manager bounce, it was booming on that day, and it was like an afternoon kick-off as well, so it was like sort of ruined probably everyone's bets as well. But then the way Arsenal were playing, I just think we just played really, really well that day. Like, we sort of, if you looked at sort of how we played, the chances we created, like, we could have scored 2, 3, 4 headers before the goal even went in. So I don't think with that one, I think Tottenham, potentially we could be...
It's potentially a really good time to play Tottenham.
I think you could even put the Chelsea game into the mix, because they've not been playing very well either. And obviously, but that shows the character that obviously we came back twice from getting beat against Chelsea. I do think Dyche has done a very good job with the players he's got at his disposal. I think, you know, the players that we've got, are we too good to go down now, as everybody says? And I personally don't think we are. I think, you know, if we went down, it'd just be because of the personnel that we've got. And that's obviously that's tough for me to say because you know I love the club and stuff. But if you're not going to spend money on someone who's going to score goals when you've got nobody who's going to score goals,
that was the most baffling thing I think
Crazy.
from just looking as a red looking at a football team.
Mad.
Do you think he'll go down or
No.
I still think he's will.
After I know because I've from the conversation I've watched them all the time and I see it say, but I think from what Dyche is doing, and I think you know, mate, Tarkowski's been incredible the last few since he's come in. Obviously, he knows him, isn't he? He's one of his boys from Burnley, but he's been solid, absolutely solid. And you know, I think obviously Cody's had a bit of a raw deal because he's brought Kane back in as well, but he's made a couple of mistakes, but he hasn't been terrible either. So I just think he shored us up defensively. You know, everybody knows Pickford is such a good goalkeeper, and I think he's made some incredible saves, honestly, and he will be the difference with us as well again. But I think where we'll struggle is goals. It's just it's putting the ball in the net. But I think obviously at the moment we've had a few other players chipping in, which has been great, but it's consistency. If we don't get those goals, consistency, are we going to concede?
It is arguably more exciting at the bottom.
It is.
Eight teams, I think. From
is it what 27, 28 points between? So that's one's got 27, and the others have got 22. I think what are they on? 22, 24. No, it's super close between bottom and 12th. Very, very, very close. Liverpool aren't far off either, to be fair.
Keeping on Everton, then there's rumours of Lukaku back to Everton.
I'd take him back in a heartbeat,
Would you?
I love them so much. I'm a striker, aren't I? And I always have been. I love him. I love him.
Yeah, but he's past his sell-by date now, surely.
He scored a hat-trick for Belgium the other night.
Yeah, who against though? Fucking Faroe Islands.
No, lad, don't be giving me that when you've got Harry Kane breaking records.
I hate that.
And he scored 4 goals against the decent clubs.
Did you see Joey Barton's?
Yeah, I
tweet?
did. Yeah,
I thought he nailed it.
But then, in those sort of international games, aren't the majority of goals scored against lesser teams like that? You don't often see England play against the bigger teams unless it's in sort of tournament football.
Unless it's a World Cup or the Euros, yeah.
Because lots of the sort of when they group them and they seed them, you get Faroe Islands, San Marino, Andorra. You get all them put in your group. Not if you're Scotland, but if you get all of those teams. So I think Kane has been fortunate, and the big question, obviously, I know obviously you don't follow England as much, but is Kane better than Rooney? I've seen that flying round left, right, and centre. No,
I think Wayne Rooney's the best player England's ever produced. I'd go as far to say. I absolutely love Rooney.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, Lukaku, I don't know.
Mate, he's listen, he's gone to United, he's gone to Chelsea, and he hasn't done it. Was that because? And this is what I say about Richarlison and sort of the players that we have. And don't get me wrong, we can have a poisonous fan base, and we've seen it loads recently. But when we adore a player, we adore him. And we give them absolutely everything. Richarlison was one, and he was another. When he was with us scoring goals, fans absolutely adored him.
Do you not think though with the teams though he's I don't know, a bit of a bad apple? He's moved around a lot, hasn't he?
But then he goes to Inter, and is it the Italian league? Is the Italian league just nowhere near as good? That's why he did so well there. He went to United, put on all sorts of weight, didn't play in a system that suited him. Then went to Italy, scored a ridiculous amount of goals. Chelsea bought him for 90 million. And again, didn't play in a system that suited him. I think, I don't know, he was the focal point for us, and he was the focal point for Inter. I just don't think he was at Chelsea or United.
On all that though, how are you going to be getting him? Because I seen a great tweet. It was something like Everton can be the only club to break financial fair play rules and get worse.
Mate,
it's so I from what I read from it sounded a bit similar to what Man City have done, but in the sense of, so I just assumed that it's going to go on for years, but then I seen it be broken down a little bit more, and it was a case of City have got 100 offences and it's going to take ages. This is just quite simple what Everton have done. So the worrying thing for me would be if it is quite simple and it gets sorted in the next few months. What does that mean? Does it another financial penalty? Is it points deduction?
Again,
it was you basically got grassed up, didn't you? By it was Burnley and Leeds, was it?
Yeah, that was. Well,
Who made the complaint?
Yeah, that was the tail end of last year. They made the complaint, and obviously, from what I've read, I don't know massive ins and outs on it because I don't really go that much into depth with it. But from what I read, that we were working with the Premier League, like in conjunction, we were following what they were saying. If we were going to spend money, basically we had, like, they were our mum, and we had to go and say, "Mum, can I buy some sweets?" It was like that, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we were following that. But then I also read that that it was the Mykolenko deal that sort of took us over the balance sheet.
Oh, really?
So I've seen someone tweet something the other day saying we bought all sorts of mad stuff, and it's, you know, this Ukrainian fella that's going to put us in the championship. But like, so and it's mad because I seen another tweet breaking down sort of we've spent this and this, we've brought this and this in, but that doesn't take into account players' wages and all that sort of stuff. It's transfer money.
Sacking managers as well, paying the money down.
Yeah, the five managers that we've had in sort of the last sort of 6-7 years. But I think for me, I hope when I was reading about the penalties and stuff, what they've said is that it depends on the severity of what we're going to get. So it could be, like you said, points. It could be a fine. It could be sort of, you know, expulsion from the league. It could even go that far.
It's when they start, if they're going to dock points as well, do they dock them this season or do they dock them for next, or what?
If it's concluded now, it'd have to be done now. Like obviously what Derby, Birmingham, they've had it before. I think it's the same offence, but then how many other clubs are going to have to start sort of watching the back if that's the case?
I'm a big believer in that, mate. You fucking don't throw what's the old saying, living in glass houses, don't throw stones. Yeah. I think every club have been doing something wrong along the way, and yeah, I'll be honest, when it popped up on me little Sky Sports app, I thought that's them going down.
You loved it, didn't you?
Yeah,
you were like, oh yeah, you got your Everton notification switched on. Oh, that is.
On the spending though, which again I don't think anyone really knows how it works. Obviously Chelsea have bought tons of players, and Liverpool are now getting linked with Mount, aren't they?
I think, do you know what, he'd be really good for you.
I'm not a massive fan of him, you know.
I think
I have been wrong. The other player I wasn't a fan of and completely, you know, got shown to be an idiot was Saka. I wasn't keen on Saka, but he's turned out to be brilliant. I don't know. If Liverpool bought him, I don't think I'd be over the moon.
Do you think that if Liverpool bought him soon and he sort of was under the guardianship of Henderson, because I see them as quite similar. Obviously, when Henderson first started, you know, he was a little bit further forward. I think I see them in sort of a very similar position. I think that's why, you know, Liverpool being linked with him is, could he be a direct replacement? Because
I think the Bellingham one is like the direct replacement, I think, for the Endo. I don't know, Mount reminds me a bit more of like an Adam Lallana type player, and I wasn't a massive fan of him. Yeah. And they're talking 70 million. He's only got a year left on his contract. There's no way we're paying that for him.
They're trying to recoup, aren't they? That's all they're trying to do there. But do you honestly think Bellingham's coming? Again, this has been asked so many times on.
I honestly do,
yeah. But really,
yeah, I do, and I don't think it'll matter if we get top 4 or not.
Yeah, it's a big one. Like, mate, if he went, obviously he's in the same mould as Gerrard, isn't he? He's incredible, and you know, you see sort of reels and stuff on him. And again, the England games the other day, I didn't watch them, but I've seen some of the stuff that he did, and he just oozes class.
My two big things is why I think he'll come is. If he's not a millionaire, he'll be a millionaire soon. So money shouldn't be his primary kind of objective. I want to get the most out of something. So if you can see a project with Klopp there and getting Liverpool back to the top, then I think that's the footballing decision. And the other reason is, mate, he's only 20, so he could do 4 or 5 years and then go to Madrid. Yeah. So yeah, I think we'll get him. But the whole Mount thing, I mean, when I seen it getting linked, I wasn't over the moon, But
then again, what you were saying about Chelsea, they've from what I've read, they've tried, you know, sign players on massive contracts over like 5, 6, 7 years. So they can obviously potentially get away with it by saying, you know, we're gonna offset it over this many years. But then if they're touting big money for the likes of him, like who else are they gonna sell? Like they're gonna have to sell. Obviously, Lukaku goes back there.
So he's still on loan, is he? Is he? Yeah.
Back on loan, yeah. So they still own him. So he's going to go back July 1st or whenever it is that runs out. And then, yeah, you've got him to sell, which I would take at Everton. Like, I'd take him back and Richarlison back straight away in the same team. Put them
You're
in
living in the past, lad. So, mate, on this is one that mad one you put down. Messi to America with all clubs to pay some of his salary.
Honestly, when I read this, right, I was eating my food and I was like, nah. So I clicked on it, and basically what they said is that they wanted to get Messi to America, obviously massive sponsorship, but each of the clubs were going to pay for his salary. And I was like, how would that even work? And I'll be honest, I sat on the toilet before thinking about this, thinking, how would it work? Like, is he going to play one game for each team?
Yeah.
Or like, doesn't matter if he's injured or not? But
that's got to be the most ridiculous idea ever. But you know what? I can actually see Messi going to America. And what I think he'll do is he'll do another year at PSG, but then he'll do 2 years in America, or at least one, because it's the World Cup in America, isn't it? And I think for that brand, for him,
mate.
do you know what I mean? He has a couple of years in the MLS, building up a brand, and then he signs off his career with Argentina at the next World Cup.
How old is he now? 36? How old are the two of them?
35, I think, isn't he? 35, 36. So, I think he'll go into the World Cup in America, and I think if he's going to do that, he'll have a bit of a swan song in America the last couple of years. But
yeah, again, that's it for him. It's money though, isn't it? Like, if he went to that league, he'd just abuse it. Like, it's not.
But mate, at what point though have you got enough?
That's that again. That same can be said for Ronaldo. Like, he's gone to sort of Saudi. He's not gone to Saudi to play football.
No,
he's not. He's gone for the sheer amount of money that he's getting. Would Messi just do the same? Just think, you know what? I'm done with it, sort of thing.
I guess as well though, I think one thing as fans you probably don't think of enough is like is the families around it. You know, would his missus maybe want to live in America for a bit? True,
and obviously, you know, living in Saudi is different than living in America. It depends where he goes in America though. Like, if he goes to sort of, or even Canada, like Vancouver, cold up there. Yeah, he'll end up in Miami, I reckon.
Yeah, I was going to say, with Phil Neville as his manager.
Phil Neville. Yeah, that's a big pull. Obviously, Beckham and the PSG link. It is a big pull, isn't it? So, yeah, sort of. I reckon that would be the place that he goes.
Mate, also as well, you were happy, no doubt, when Scotland beat Spain. Again, I didn't see any of the internationals, and I couldn't believe it when I seen the score. Did you watch it? Did you? Or?
Yeah, well, I was in work, but yeah, I had it on, sort of thing. But obviously, I sound like this. Like, my dad's Scottish, so got a lot of Scottish blood in me. And obviously, we played Cyprus, where it was good. But that again,
did they have to play for the Cyprus game?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, McTominay only played it like about 28 minutes, scored twice, came on and scored twice. But the thing is, like, those are the games. The thing for me, looking at it as a Scotland fan, they're the games we usually lose or draw. Like, sort of, we won't pick up points in those games, which will then cost us. Like, what cost us in the last qualification was we drew 1-1 with Georgia. Like, that sort of game, and you should be winning those sort of games. Well, you know, I personally think we should, with the players that we have now got. But then, yeah, against Spain, mate, we were good. And you know what, right?
What score was it at the finish?
2-0. 2-0. McTominay scored twice. Scored 4 and 2. But the thing for me, and I was talking to, like one of the kids the other day, I was talking to them, and they were like, oh, you know what, I hate that Andy Robertson one. And I was like, do you know what, mate? When he puts on a blue shirt, I absolutely love him. Yeah. Like, honestly, like, we got 4 assists in the 2 games. Like, him and Kieran Tierney down that left, very, very, very good. So yeah, big 6 points for us, puts us top as well. So.
And this is for the Euros, was it, qualifying?
Yeah. Euros.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't see much of the. It's at that time of the season as well where I'd be worried, thinking one of the players to get back safe, but the way Liverpool's season is, it's not even fucking.
I just see, was it? So Norway played against Spain, and Rodri absolutely nailed Odegaard, like proper nailed him.
Really? Yeah.
Sort of. Obviously, the City Arsenal thing, he wiped them out. They didn't get a pen for it. Should have been. Odegaard's writhing on the floor, and like, again, I read some stuff where Arsenal fans must have been like, no, because he wiped him out. And like, sort of looked over him and was like, see you later, and cut off. But
ruthless, but like I say, when they're going for the Prem, there was a bit of sniping as well, weren't there, from Spain about Scotland's style of play?
The long grass.
Yeah.
But to be fair, when I did watch it, again, thinking about footy, I was thinking, that pitch looks crap. Like, it's Hampden Park, like, what's going on? The pitch looks terrible. But then when I read that, like, the next day, Rodri was kicking off, I was like, yeah, that's obviously why. Don't want them to play. But then, mate, listen, that's all, like, good shit arsery, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, that's the thing. That's what you
get
do.
Get away with it, yeah.
If you can.
So just finishing off as well on the Prem stuff. Who do you have then as the Spurs manager, or who can you see being the Spurs manager? Because I don't think that Bayern fella's going to go there.
I did read as well, actually. I don't know if you've seen it. Luis Enrique basically was like, I want to come to the Prem, but I'm only going to come if it's a big challenge. Like, I'm only going to come if it's something huge. Are Tottenham huge? They've got a huge stadium.
I think they potentially could be like sleeping giants though.
Mate, honestly, for years. But like, that's why Kane has stayed, because he keeps thinking, is it next year? Is it next year? And I think, again, I was having a debate with someone the other day about it. I don't think he'll leave now. I think he's done for there, because he's been there for such a long time. Like, obviously, like Gerrard was. Obviously, I think he's just gonna. I don't think he'll go. I think he'll stick around, but I don't think he'll win it either.
I think he'll go to United.
They've touted them for years, but they've never done. How old is he?
29. We got slagged last week. I think I said he was like 35 or something. 29. So he's probably got one big contract and he left.
Yeah. I don't know if he's just a one-man club now at there, but I think
because he's got Tottenham's all-time record, hasn't he? So I think he'd stay in the Prem because he wants to get the Prem all-time record. Yeah, he wants to get the Prem, yeah. But yeah, listen, I think I'd have him at Liverpool.
Yeah, listen, mate, he scores goals. Like, this is the thing, he scores goals, and like that's what you want in a striker. That's you want him to put the ball in the net. But in terms of manager-wise, I don't know.
I've seen Zidane getting mentioned as well, wasn't it?
Ah, mate, I'd love to see Zidane.
I'd love to see Zidane
love him so much. Like, if he came to the Prem, I'd be made up. My favourite player ever. But yeah, I've seen Nagelsmann, and that thing with Enrique the other day, I think, is that a sort of a good challenge to get your teeth into, possibly?
Yeah, actually the Enrique thing happened. Mate, is well your mate, is it? Jake Garrett.
Oh, no, so basically he went to St Michael's in Crosby, and he's been playing for Blackburn for a number of years, and he's just signed a new contract, so say congratulations to him. Like,
Belter that.
Good. It's just a local kid, isn't it? Just doing well.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's centre mid as well, like, so he's in the first team playing well. So yeah, fair play to him. It's
nice
good
one,
to see the local kids doing well.
So last one on the footy then, are Everton getting 3 points on? It's Monday night, isn't it?
Monday night, yeah. Listen, well, I was going to say under the lights in the darkness, but it's not now, is it? Because it's light till about 9:30. Yeah, I do. Simply because...
Do you think they're going to beat Tottenham?
Yeah. Again, look at all the factors. You know, we're at home. Sort of... They've got no manager. And like the atmospheres at night games, you'll know yourself, mate. Yeah. You've been to so many, like especially, you know, the Champions League games and stuff. Obviously, we don't go to those, but we watch them from afar. But like Goodison under the lights it is magical. And I think, you know, we showed that with Palace last season. I think if the fans turn up, I think we will win. But again, it's just who's going to score the goals. That's my only thing.
I think a draw there Monday night. Liverpool have got Man City as well at 12:30 kickoff Saturday. You know what's so mad about this is every time we've played City, it's been like such a wow, like planning your whole week around this. I'm not even excited to watch it. Liverpool season, it's just because of you. Mate, I'm absolutely spoilt in saying this, but like last 5 years, mate, every game, especially this time of the year, like March, April time, you were just so excited because every game was massive. There was, you know, cup finals to go to, European destinations, and then now we're just back to playing for fourth spot. It's just a little bit. I know I sound like a moaning bastard because we've had so much, and I'm sitting here. Exactly. But considering it's Man City, I'm like not that bothered.
So, question then: would you rather see City or Arsenal win the league?
Do you know what? I think it's a great question, and I was surprised by a few Reds I know answers. So my original answer was I want to see Arsenal win the league over City. However, someone made a great point which made me change my mind. It took Liverpool 30 years and Jurgen Klopp to come and absolutely transform the whole club for us to win one league title. If Arsenal have one fluke season under fucking Arteta and manage to win it, I think it will diminish Liverpool's achievements.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it.
I want City now to win it. Because this season has been a weird off-season. You've got the World Cup, it's broke things up, it's a bit of it feels a little bit like when Leicester won the league type season.
Do you think because City are potentially going to have all their titles given to you anyway, is that you're not going to bother about that? You're not bothered about this one if they get it?
It's... Well, what... I just think, mate, given what Liverpool and Man City have done these last few years, Arsenal just coming like this, when Liverpool and Man City are having an off-season, if Arsenal win it will just be fucking shit for Liverpool fans. To think that the one season we had a blip, you know, because every season where Liverpool are going hard at it, so Man City, fucking Man City slip up this season and are a little bit shit, and where are we? Even fucking worse. So it's gonna be to see. Obviously, with Arsenal bottoming it last season, it's gonna be interesting to see whether they can hold their nerve this season, because City will always finish strong. We know they can. Like, they can turn it on like that. Like, there's no issues. Like, again, De Bruyne, I know it's only internationals, but he was he played incredible in the 2 games. The highlights that I've seen, he was so good. But Arsenal got the bottle to get the over the line. You know, just on the Man City one as well, would you consider them Man City's team, if they didn't win the league, to be worse off with Haaland in it?
Do you know what? Again, loads of people have asked this, just like, because obviously I think he's incredible as a striker. I just think he's something else. His speed, his strength, his everything. Man City this year have played a different way because they've had to. But do I think they're weaker? I don't think they are, because, you know, he's just an animal. He's just a machine. He's like I'll be honest, any kid growing up wanting to be a striker needs to watch him. His movement's insane. Like, I talk about sort of Calvert-Lewin and stuff like that, and I watch it from sort of my own personal experiences. I think his movement's terrible. I think he doesn't do enough off the ball to get him into positions that will get us goals. You watch Haaland, and I think because of how clever the Man City players are as well, if he goes in and sort of drops off, they know that. And there's so many goals that he scored where he's just sort of like basically pulled it back and he scored from the 6-yard box. But
I think you're talking about those movements as well, mate. This is his first season. I think it's the second, third, fourth season. I think it's when it'll be.
And it's those syndromes, isn't it? Like, you know, first season syndrome. He's gonna break all sorts of records.
No.
It's crazy,
mate. On to the world of boxing, which hasn't painted itself in a great light these last few weeks. This weekend is the return of AJ's fighting Franklin in London. Pardon me. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, when AJ was like AJ, you know, unbeaten, he did seem to carry boxing, you know, UK boxing. Every show was just like the AJ show, and it was it was great to see. Obviously, he's had 2 losses now, and he's got this fight. They're expecting him to just walk through Franklin. I think if he doesn't, people will be saying you need to retire. But the other thing about AJ is, people say, he's an average fighter. You think of what he's done, like gold medal, world titles he's won, and yet still I've seen people this week, AJ's no good anymore. It's like, fuck me, like, what do you need to do to be fucking great anymore? Do you know what I mean?
He was like, again, I'm not a massive boxing fan, but he was the sort of the golden boy for UK boxing. And I'll be honest, I looked at him and thought, because obviously I looked at Tyson Fury and looked at how he looked, sort of his sort of physique and how he looked after himself, and, you know, we promoted the sort of that health and fitness and, you know, the background that he's come from. I thought, you know what, I'll back this lad. But then sort of what's happened to him since, is that sort of with the losses and stuff, is that his fault? Or is that sort of, you know, was he hyped up too much? Has he been treated, you know, properly behind the scenes? Like, obviously we will never know any of that. But I think he's, obviously with them going away and obviously getting the new coach and stuff, I think...
He's been training in America, hasn't he, in Houston, I think. The other thing I think as well, which as we just spoke about, that kind of AJ train, that was great for so many years, and it's obviously halted a little bit with the couple of defeats he's had. It becomes more than boxing. Like, you are now looking after everyone, you know, all your mates, their livelihood depends on you winning. And the pressure that must come with that, like, it's... but he's back this weekend against Franklin. I think they're expecting him to hopefully walk through him, do it in style, and then...
This is the thing, like, I've again, just looking at him, he's an absolute specimen. And you think to yourself, you know, someone that looks like that if he's going to get into the ring, you know, he's gonna do incredible stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what I've seen from him and what I've seen from Fury, like boxing wise, they're just not even in anywhere near the same league. Like to box, they're just not in anywhere near each other. And I think that's obviously what he's gone away and he's looked at. He's gone and looked at a sort of his style and, you know, how he's going to sort of progress. Because like I say, if he loses today, you know, he's done for.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for me personally, like.
If he does get the win though, then straight away the one annoying thing will be, I do hope he does win, but it will just be Fury Joshua, and I just cannot be bothered with that bullshit fucking roundabout of like, will it, won't it?
But it's happening now, obviously with Fury and Usyk. Like for me, like, I obviously heard you last week talking about the MMA and sort of how the best fighters fight the best fighters. In boxing, it's like there's just a boxing merry-go-round, and it's you know, will he fight him and will he fight them, and oh no, and you know, get Wilder in and Chisora, like those sort of fighters. And I think, no offense to Derek Chisora, like, don't fight me if you're listening, like, sorry mate, but you know, it's one of them, like, you know, us as fans and sort of sports fans want to see Fury, Usyk, Fury, you know, AJ at the time, and it just never happened. But why didn't it happen? Because was it money? Was it whatever?
I think AJ Wilder would be a good fight to happen after this if he gets through Franklin. I'd like to see that one. Is that his new trainer, Derek James? Is it?
Yeah, Derek James. Basically, came out and said that he's taught him a new way. He's taught him a new way to box, and sort of, you know, he's following a new path, sort of thing. So
how is it? Do you not think that's a little bit like old dog, new tricks though? I mean, how can you've been boxing for how long, and then suddenly someone says you're doing it wrong, do it this way?
But then, does that not... Like, again, I'm not a boxing expert any way, shape or form, but you watch the likes of, you know, Mayweather, the way he actually boxes, you know, Canelo, all those sort of things, Fury even, like, the boxing-wise, incredible. When I was watching, obviously, Joshua, when he fought Ruiz, especially, Ruiz even, when he fought him, like, he just got outboxed.
Yeah.
And it's, you think to yourself, again, you know, he's coming in, he's won this gold medal, he looks how he looks. How is he not doing the things that, you know, he's hyped up to be?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It will be interesting seeing him on at the weekend. I'm looking forward to it. And then, again, another fucking shit show in the boxing world was the Smith and Brook. So the Smith-Eubank seems to have been played down now because Eubank got his money fight with Conor Benn back on it. It's seemingly...
Which, again, mate... Just from an outsider looking in, it's just madness, isn't it? Yeah. Madness.
But they had Eubank's promoter on TalkSport. And again, mate, you're just listening to him and watching him squirm when asked the big questions about morals or money. And they're just picking money time and time again. So he's happy to let Eubank fight Conor Benn, despite the kind of dark shadow of the drugs and all that kind of stuff and the commission and problems and all that, because it's going to be a big payday in Saudi, it looks like in June, which is now leaving Smith and Brook, which could be a big banker payday. Right. I actually feel really sorry for Brook, because he had that video come out about him, and I seen an interview that he'd done, I think it was the week before that come out, and he just said, like, I'm lost, you know, I'm just, you know, professional sportsman for all his life, and then now he's retired, you know, early. I don't mean early in boxing, but I mean early in life. You know, he's still a young man, and you can have all the money in the world, if he's not got that purpose anymore, it's tough for him. So this kind of comeback fight now. I
see so many sportsmen like that though. They don't really know what to do afterwards. But I think for him, like, again, I think I might have heard you speaking about it, but you know, he's got to have better people around him. Yeah. Like, he's got people in that room. Don't get me wrong, what he did is wrong. Like, he shouldn't be doing that. Like, he's a role model to so many young kids, but the people he had in that room he trusted, and he was sort of with those people, and you know, in whatever profession, sport or whatever, you know, if you've got people around you that are going to do that to you, then they're not the people you need to be having around you. Like, no. And sorry, the thing, I feel sorry for Smith as well, to be fair, because Smith is obviously, you know, he's been told, Eubank, you're not having it anymore, even though sort of he won, but like, you're now going to fight sort of Kell Brook, but again, is it a money thing? You know,
that's what I hate about boxing, mate. I feel like, I mean, I'm sure all the Smith family are happy at how their careers have went, but I sometimes think, like, if they were more horrible in the sense of, like, you know, went on like Twitter spats and kind of, you know, were a bit more outspoken, and they're just not like that. So they're not spoken about. Maybe like Liam Smith. How's he won that fight? He smoked him, and then suddenly it's like, oh well, you're not
exactly.
you're not a big enough name. And
the Conor Benn fight's more important than that. No, but does that not show the class of the family and basically Liverpool boxers in general? Sort of, you know, they're not like that. And obviously, you know, mate, the fighting scene in the city has always been incredible. And I think that just shows the class of them. But I do feel like it's, you know, he's been piped back down the pecking order for no fault, through no fault of his own.
I don't know whether there might be a case where you just get step aside money or something. Maybe that might happen. But yeah, be interesting if that ends up coming out. With the F1, mate, as well. You into your F1?
Do you know what? I used to love it. I used to watch it all the time. My dad, like all of the time. McLaren were always sort of my favourite team, but because they're on a Sunday, and that's when I'd have my cook day. I generally don't watch it, but I do follow it. Obviously, sort of, you know, Hamilton's just ruined the scene for years and years. But then I'm glad that Verstappen came in, because that sort of it, of course, definitely. You know, he did have what the battles with Vettel and stuff like that, but it wasn't the same as it is now. So I'm glad, obviously, sort of Max came. Like I know him firsthand. Max Verstappen came along, and but yeah, I think it's been a bit mad. I did go to a race. I went to Abu Dhabi. Mate, it was just the best day. Like literally,
what was that like?
It's just got there. So I used to teach in the UAE. So I went, and like one of my kids' parents gave me like a pass for the day, mate.
Fucking, so it wasn't just like a
it was a day. So we went to like the sort of the beginning bit, and we walking around the sort of the harbour, boats everywhere. Like it was insane. On this little golf cart, out of our own little golf cart, got driven around everywhere. Given these like scooters, you know, the orange scooters that we've got here now. I was on them like pretty much all day. Watched the race, got food, drink, unlimited food, incredible. Watched the race, watched the sort of the celebrations afterwards. Hamilton won as well, which was cool. And then the Killers played afterwards. Like you literally walked from the track to here, and the Killers were playing.
Wow,
that was incredible. Oh yeah, have you been to a race?
No, I'm into it. I got into the Drive to Survive, and you know, I found it fascinating, the politics around it all. But again, but like you, will watch it when it's on and stuff. And
it was more, to be fair, the actual day was more interesting than watching the cars.
I was going to say, mate, I love a good corporate hospitality kind of day. It was good,
lad, yeah. The when you were in the harbour, like you could literally stand from me to you away from the track, but like the noise when it was going past, like, you just couldn't stand there the whole race, like especially when there was loads of cars all sort of cooped up together. But I would bucket list it. It is cool.
I seen Hamilton. You just mentioned him. Then he was. I think it's only happened to him I think he was having a bit of a back and forth with his teammate, because I think it's only the third time that he's been beaten by a teammate, and so obviously, listen, to get where he's got to in that sport, you need to have strong personalities. You know, the born winners, these people. So I think for him as well now, you know, the car itself isn't doing great, but the fact that he's now being outperformed by his teammate, I think as well. You kind of think, is this the kind of the beginning of the end for him, maybe? But
I think he's focusing on a lot of other stuff now, though, isn't he? I think he's sort of taken himself away, and you know, he's campaigning quite a lot for loads of different things. So I think has his head been turned by other stuff? I don't know.
It's an interesting point you make that, because remember Marcus Rashford kind of went through that phase of doing stuff, and then a lot of United fans were saying your form's dropped, stop doing all that, focus on football. And he I've not seen him in the news as much lately, but his form's gone insane, and it is a good kind of question to think, you know, obviously politics and sport, I think they just go hand in hand anyway, but it's like, how much do you want the sports people speaking out? Do you want them doing it all the time, or does it come at a detriment then to what they're actually doing? It's
one of them, like, because they're such high profile, like, people do listen, sort of thing. And I think obviously what Rashford did was incredible, so good. But yeah, you're right, his form did dip. Was he sort of focused on other stuff? I don't know if you've seen, back to football a little bit, that someone said that he's asked for £500,000 a week at United, and he come out and he said it's not true. But I like that. I like the fact that he's come out and sort of, obviously it's Twitter, and he come out and tweet and said it's all nonsense, ignore it, which was great. But I think having high profile people sort of speaking about important topics, I think there is a place for it, but if they're getting paid to do a job in the same respect, it can't affect that as well. Because again, if you're, for example, United, if you're ploughing, fans are ploughing all that money into sort of going home and away, all that sort of stuff, and the players aren't performing, I think they've got a right to sort of point.
It's hard, isn't it? Because it's like that, just because he's been campaigning or doing whatever, that's not necessarily the reason his form's dropped. There could be a million other things, couldn't it? But I think that's just the first thing people will say. Oh, he's doing this, and like you say, Hamilton's done a lot, hasn't he? And he's done a lot around racism, hasn't he? And the only thing I didn't like about Hamilton was a few years ago, and he was gobbing off so much about like saving the planet, and then like he fucking flew his dog. He flew his dog on his private jet or something like that. So I think he's sometimes a little bit hypocritical. But I know what you mean. He seems to have. Well, there's also that point to make. He's at that point in his career now where he probably is thinking, what am I going to do afterwards? So he is going to have other interests and other hobbies and other, investments maybe that he's keeping an eye on. And is that making his form dip? You don't know, do you? But it is interesting. And again, Max is just smoking it as well, which I think is great to see. Mate, you brought up something on your phone which I thought was interesting on the golf. So the Masters is starting.
Oh yeah.
And they have a menu.
Food, yes.
So if anyone who didn't know anything about this,
look at this properly. I don't want to get it wrong. So basically, every year at the Masters, they have a sort of the winner from the previous year does like the menu for the next year. So obviously, all the previous winners go to like this dinner. My dad will be dead proud of me with this. So last year, it was all like sushi and all that sort of like quite classy. It was like really, really classy. And this year, like Scotty Scheffler's got cheeseburger sliders, firecracker shrimp, tortilla soup. I don't even know what tortilla soup is, to be honest. Is it soup that you dip tortilla strips in? Probably. A ribeye steak or blackened red fish with fried Brussels sprouts, no less. And then a warm chocolate chip skillet cookie. So obviously I messaged you, didn't I? I said like sort of if you won the Masters, like what would you sort of bringing the food element into it? What would you choose for your like starter, main course, dessert?
It's a great shout. So a bit more on this then before I pick. So all the players have a dinner or something before the Masters
so they have the
starts?
Masters dinner. Yeah, so they all turn up in the green jackets, thinking like obviously they'll want to have these. They're all flying, and then they all sit down and have like a proper dinner. I think you'd have a few scoops as well, like. But
is that the start of it or
it's the start of it? The very start. So like they welcome
I've never knew that.
So they welcome the sort of the winner, and that's obviously why he picks, because it's served in honour of the winner from the previous year.
I see.
So they all turn up wearing the same clothes, green jacket, same colour tie.
Obviously I'm not cooking it, am I?
No. It's you just choose. You get to choose it.
Choosing.
Yeah. So you basically start a main course, dessert, whatever you want. Like it's yours. And
I'd kind of want them to know about Liverpool, mate. I'd just say a massive big bowl of scouse.
Yes, crusty bread.
Loads of crusty bread. Big bowl of scouse.
Beetroot or cabbage.
Well, cabbage, yeah. Only a little bit of beetroot though.
Yeah.
I don't like too much of it.
My missus thinks I'm proper weird because I have beetroot with my scouse. Like,
it's not weird to do it, but not low. I've seen some people and they're just coating it with it. No.
Yeah.
What would you have?
I'd have a steak, 100% as the.
You're Mr. Prepped with Passion. Yeah. Come on, you need to.
Yeah, a good cut of steak, fillet steak. I do love like a chicken satay as well. It's obviously completely different cuisines, but chicken satay with a peanut sauce. And do you know what? Is warm chocolate chip skillet cookie, but like a big one.
I'll have a bit of that, yeah.
When
does the Masters actually start?
Well, the Masters dinner is the 4th of April, it says right there. So I'm guessing it's after that. The big thing, I think, which would be the big talking point, is all the live players are obviously there as well, aren't they? Mate.
So I think there's 17, of them. I've seen a few headlines saying like, there's going to be no division, and it's bullshit.
No, stop it. Of course there is. So again, just back to morals, what we spoke about before. Do you think that they should be allowed to play?
Do I think they should be allowed to play? Mate, I can literally see both sides of it. Who is the kind of the PGA to be like, you've only got to do this one? So I think, but like what we're saying about the Hamilton and Max Verstappen, sometimes it's good to mix things up and stuff. But I just think it's when you look at where the money's come from. But then I also think, do you know, if you looked at every country or every like organisation,
mate, nobody's legit.
If you look fucking, you look far enough into stuff, mate,
Yeah.
There'll be dodgy things going on everywhere. I think just with this kind of Middle Eastern money, it's just a bit more glaringly obvious when they're fucking killing journalists, etc., and doing all what they do.
But this is the thing, obviously you've got those players in there now, obviously earning an absolute fortune. The likes of McIlroy, who's gone and said, because at the start they weren't allowed to play in anything. Once they broke away, they weren't allowed to play. McIlroy sort of stood up for his guns and been like, no, this is disgusting, all that sort of stuff. But now they're being allowed in. Like, how do you think that makes him feel in terms of you know, his support for the PGA and sort of the tour and things like that? Basically, they just shit all over him, haven't they? And that's, you know, he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest star in golf, and they've just totally not backed him. So that'll be making him and other players like him like feel inadequate, pretty much.
Yeah, and it'll just be so interesting if one of the live players wins.
Oh, mate, there'll be murder.
There will be murder.
It'll be bad. I want Rahm. I love John Rahm. I think he's just one special, and he's dead nice as well. So again, when I went to the race in Dubai, and I followed him and Stenson for like the full time. I was the full 4 days. And they were just dead nice, just chatting away to the fans and stuff. They were boss. Yeah, they were so good, which made me love him even more, to be honest. And I love the fact that he's not American as well.
I'll be honest, the Masters is the time when I do get right into golf, and I actually will watch it, especially on the Sunday. But is that who you're going for then? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Rahm. I back Rahm all the time. I think he's 8 to 1.
8 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at Matsuyama 22 to 1. He's my outsider. Not good at betting at all. That's not even a little bit, but they're me two picks.
Mate, we're gonna get to the point in the show of this week's competition. So I didn't actually know what to think this week because arguably the question last week was a bit tough. So I said to Aaron, "What do you think we should do?" So the question is your question this week.
Yeah.
Is what are the 2 numbers that Kobe Bryant wore during his career? So we've done a spin of the wheel before to get some names, and our producer Musk, we have picked Ellis Molyneux. So let's give Ellis a call now.
I have to find out where they live as well, because if they win or if they get it right, I'll do a week's worth of free meals for them as well.
Week's worth of free meals?
Week's worth of free meals.
Look at that, prep with passion, sorting you out. Right. Let's hope the answer this time. 3 times it took last time.
No. It's so intense.
Alice is just having me off here, right?
Oh, mate.
Let's see, next. Right, we have Nicky Barnbrook.
Hello?
Oh, is that Nicky?
Yeah.
It's Andy Grant, mate, from the Legged Podcast. You okay?
You okay?
Yeah, mate. Are you ready for this week's sports question?
Go ahead, mate.
Mate, 100 quid if you get this right.
Go ahead.
Right, basketball, Kobe Bryant, yeah?
Yeah.
He wore 2 numbers in his career. What are they?
Number 8.
That's 1, yeah, correct. What's the other one?
Was it 14?
Oh,
No, nightmare.
24 it was, mate.
24. To be honest, I'll go 23, but I thought that's a bit too thingy, innit?
That was Jordan, I think, won it, 23.
Big James and Jordan.
Ah, mate, so close, lad.
Nightmare.
Ah, mate, thanks for the support on Patreon, mate. Much appreciated. See you later.
Oh, lad, he was so close.
I thought he had it.
He's so confident as well. 8 straight away. 8.
That means next week it's 150 quid.
I'll keep the meals on as well, for sort of anyone that wants to do it. And as well, obviously I was saying to you before about just obviously promoting it. I'll do a discount code as well for the next. Well, basically anyone that wants to use it, we'll just do Legged 15.
Yeah, he's brought in some stuff. Looks a belter anyway. I've not tasted it yet, and you're gonna be up for coming and doing more shows, aren't you?
Yeah,
anyway,
100%, mate. I've again just had the ball. Like, I've been waiting for the call, lad. Like little boys, like when's it gonna come? When's it gonna arrive?
I'll be honest. When we were kids playing footy, Aaron was a phenomenal striker. You know, when you think as kids, and I always think this is like a great analogy of you just realise how good, like the likes of Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney, and that must be, because you genuinely were one of those players you think, nah, he's gonna play at some level.
Thanks, mate.
How kind of did you get
Mate,
your career and
like,
stuff?
I played for like AFC Liverpool, Runcorn Town. I think sort of there was a certain point in my life when I just stopped playing. Like it was around about year 7, year 8, just some personal stuff, just stopped playing footy. And after that, like you'll know me, to score goals left, right and centre, so many goals. But then when I was youngish, wasn't afraid. But then when I came back and I started playing again, like year 9 or whatever, I just sort of, I don't know, just couldn't do it. I couldn't score as many. Like, don't get me wrong, I scored goals everywhere I went. Like, I was top goal scorer for AFC Liverpool. I scored like 49 goals in one season for Runcorn Town as well. Like, it was loads. But I missed probably 10 times more chances than that. So I just sort of, I wasn't as clinical as I was when I was younger. And then just when I played in Dubai though, and it was it was incredible. It was what
was the level like compared?
So like I played with a fella called Ian Selly. I don't know if you know him. He won the European Cup with Arsenal. Played against to Nicolas Anelka. There was like a French team. They had Nicolas Anelka.
Played against Nicolas Anelka.
Nicolas Anelka. There was Patrice Evra played in one game. Who was the other French fella? I played against Christian Wilhelmsen, the Swedish fella. So he played for the team as well, mate. I'm not even messing, mate. He was the laziest footballer I've ever seen. But obviously he's like 38, 39. He'd get the ball in the middle of the pitch and he just spray. Sally did the same.
Really,
Sally was incredible though, but he just got and he just made. And you could just tell they were just a cut above of everybody else. But it was like there was a couple of lads that we played with, like play for Raith Rovers and things like that. But because the carpet, it was like playing on carpet. The grass, it was grass pitches as well, playing on carpet. But it was like night games, so you always played in the night because it was obviously cooler. But then by the time you were getting home at midnight, 12:30, like wired from footy, like going to work the next day, it's crazy. But
you were like from what I remember as kids, great. And mate, been boss on on. Anyone who wants to get involved with Aaron, wants to find out anything, Prep with Passion, is it on Instagram and Twitter?
Yeah, so it's Prep with Passion PWP. So my first one got hacked. Like someone just hacked it and sort of took it off me. So I made a new one. So it's Prepped with Passion PWP. PWP meal preps on Twitter, and then just Facebook Prep with Passion PWP again.
And you do daily meals, is it? Or?
So basically the way it works is that you order your meals before 9 AM on a Friday, and then you'll get your first set of meals on a Sunday, which is your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday meals, and then on a Wednesday you get your second set, which is your Thursday, Friday, which obviously means everything's cooked fresh. We cook on a Sunday, we cook on a Wednesday, so you get two drops. Obviously I've had meals before where I've cooked everything on a Sunday. By the time you get through to the Friday, it's not sort of how it should be. All the meals are all the meat comes from a local butcher. All the meat's halal as well, which is another amazing thing about us. And the good thing about mine is that I've looked at other meal prep companies, and what they do is they sort of give you a set menu and they say you've got to have this meal, this and whatever. My website, which is just prepwithpassion.co.uk, you can choose whatever you want. So you can literally click on the meal that you want on the day that you want it. So sort of, I added 3 new dishes as well last night, so they're ready to go for next week. So I think I've got 30 dishes now on a menu. So if you had one meal a day for 6 weeks, you could eat something different every day and not get bored. And the good thing about it is that it all comes freshly prepared. Like, it's not like those big corporations out there that I'm not going to name them because I don't need to go with them. But yeah, it's not like that. You don't have to do the prep and stuff. And the thing for me is that it saves so much time. Like for you, sort of spending time with your family, spending time doing whatever, gaming, sports, whatever it is you do. And I think if you looked at my sort of socials, I only eat my own food, and obviously I train, for fitness competitions and stuff, and that for me is sort of the biggest thing, that I've got so much more time just to spend with my daughter and stuff, and my family, and do the things that I like to do. So I think that's the time element, and me, time's precious. You never get that time back. So
no, it's about it, mate. I'm going to be looking forward to trying this, and don't forget, boss to support local businesses as well, so check Prep to Passion out. And mate, massive thanks again. I know you're going to be coming in the studio more. I'm talking about sport as we go on. Awesome. But hope you all have enjoyed this week's show. The prize for next week now will be 150 quid. And we'll see you then.
Cheers, mate. All the best.